sure you check out our online store where we work with our graphic designer to create stunning garment and product designs that feature a wide variety of aircraft types such as British fighters, World War II aircraft, American bombers, Russian fighters and much more. You can pick your favourite designs and personalise any items within our Redbubble store that range from clothing right the way through to stationery. All of our designs feature our logo, so you can show your support for the channel while getting a quality product. You can head to our website aircrewinterview.tv and click store, or go to redbubble.com/people/AC interview. Thank you and enjoy. So Hooter, could you talk us through your first deployment on the F-14 and what carrier you were based with?
The USS Ranger, which was a smaller deck than I wanted to be on. I came off the Coral Sea, which was even smaller than that. But the Ranger was a pretty small deck carrier. I just wanted a newer carrier just to have a little better living conditions. But you get what you get, and that's it. But Bug Roach was still with the Air Wing at the time, so he was our Air Wing LSO. Great guy. I'm happy to have known him. We went over to the Persian Gulf, but not in the Persian Gulf. We were in the North Arabian Sea, Gulf of Oman, that kind of area. And we did some interesting things. We did these things called earnest wills, which was escorting tankers, ships, through the Strait of Hormuz, because the Iranians had done some mining, silkworms out there at, I think, Jask, Shabahar, some places like that. I actually still have a map somewhere in my G suit.
That's cool.
Stuff that has some of that stuff on it, and that was kind of interesting. But it wasn't green ink. It wasn't combat. That was fun, and there were some exciting things that happened on that. One thing is, a guy named Jungle, he launches off after a target that's coming out that looks like it's a silkworm because it came out of Iran. It started high, dropped down low, and it's just under supersonic coming into the battle group. So this guy gets launched on it, and he gets clearance to do what he wants to do. And he just decided, you know what, this just doesn't seem right. And he continued the intercept to where he got a visual on it. And it turned out it was a French F-8 because we were working with French. So he's screaming in, just his radios weren't working, his IFF wasn't working or something. And, he was within a few minutes of getting blown out of the air. And just because, the backseater and the front seater in that particular airplane thought something just doesn't feel right. Let's go to a visual on this guy. And they ended up getting invited over to the French carrier and some of the Air Wing guys, and they had kind of a training session of, if you're going to come back, at least follow the rules coming back. Don't just come straight in looking like a silkworm.
Of course,
because roughly an F-8 is about the same radar cross section as a silkworm, probably.
Exactly.
So, So. Things like that happened. I myself had a clearance on an unknown contact, and again, me and my backseater just decided when it came up in the diamond, I could see a lot of lights. If it's a bad guy coming into the fleet, you're not going to see a lot of lights. So we went on in. Sure enough, it was an airliner. Glad we didn't shoot that down.
Yeah, definitely.
So things like that happen. It's just a matter of understanding what's going on and having having situational awareness of what's happening. I didn't have a lot of crashes in terms of the air wings I was with. I think on the Ranger we lost an A6. I don't think we lost anything else. An A6 just flew into the water at night one night, and
did the crew survive? Or?
No, didn't recover them. No calls from them or anything. They just went off the radar, and they just, as far as they can tell, just flew into the water for some reason.
Well, that's probably a good percentage for a cruise or on the carrier, and one aircraft. So did you ever feel like you would actually be called to shoot down an actual Russian threat?
I've intercepted a lot. Flying F-4s, I was called to intercept. I think there were a couple of bisons. We were up in the North Pacific, and we actually never saw them. We were told we were at the merge, but we were in the clouds, which made me really nervous because you're at the merge. There's airplanes nearby. I'm in the clouds. When am I going to see them?
Yeah.
We never even saw them. So I got to see. I got to escort a May, which is basically an Indian May, and I think maybe a Russian May, which are basically P3s. They're just doing surveillance, coming out. I never got to do a bear or anything like that. In the F-14, I got to do an intercept on a flogger, a MiG-23 out of Vietnam, Cam Bay. Me and my wingman were Alert 5. He was on Catapult 1. I think I was on Catapult 3. And we get the call, launch Alert 5, bogey's inbound, whatever. So we take off. He takes the bogey to the north, who ends up going out and taking a look at the PARPRO P3 that's flying up and down that they've been doing it for 40 years, doing radio surveillance and that kind of stuff. So he went up there. My wingman went up there. He got some pretty good video and got some pictures. The one we vectored at, the south guy, was coming straight for the ship. And we ended up doing several turns with him. And it was basically a rolling scissors kind of thing. It was just a whole bunch of this. Yeah. And then he'd level out and kind of trying to drag me back inside the 12-mile limit so that, there'd be some sort of violation, political thing. Well, we knew where it was. The E2 was telling us where the line was, and plus we knew where it was on the radar and charts. And so we would turn to the south, and then he'd turn back, and we'd do that again. We did that about 3 times. And last time I tried to join up on him, and he's doing everything he can do to keep me from joining up. You can see he's going from idle to burner. He's putting his speed brakes out and sweeping his wings, moving them back and forth, and just doing a bunch of jinking. But I know he's running low on gas. And at one point, I got kind of alongside of him, enough to see into the cockpit that, it's a MiG out of Vietnam, out of Cam Bay, and this guy is stuffed into the cockpit. He's got a leather helmet on, and he's got this great big red relief pitcher mustache, and he's, 6'3", 230 pounds. It looks like a football player sitting in the cockpit. And we tried to get a picture, but we weren't able to. He broke into me, and I just kind of went over the top of him. Not Tom Cruise kind of
right
Tom
there. Not Tom Cruise style, no.
Yeah. This guy breaks in, and I just go up like that and keep an eye on him, come around. He levels out, and he goes inside the 12-mile line, and I kind of turn out at an angle just to make sure he doesn't come back out. He doesn't come back out. We land and go back and debrief it, and it was kind of cool. It's a fun story.
So why didn't he want to, formate up? Like, what was you think his reasons were?
Probably didn't want me to know that he's either an Australian guy flying a mercenary or that the Russians are flying out of Vietnam. And I think, as it turns out, that was the intel that, because they were flogger Ks, that was the intel that said that the Russians were flying out of Vietnam.